Welcome to the Best Known Church Show, where we show you how to 10x your reach with church marketing that will help you increase your impact, make more disciples, and become the cornerstone of your community again. This is for the leaders with an outrageous vision, because anything less would be an inaccurate reflection of our Creator. The ones who have unreasonable faith, because you know God works unreasonable miracles. And the ones who are relentless in the pursuit of your calling, because anything less would not make a good and faithful servant. If that's you, you're in the right place. Now, please welcome your host and guide on this journey to become the best known organization in your community, Justin Nava.
Welcome to the Best Known Church Show. I'm Justin Nava, and yes, today I'm admitting it. I'm putting it out there. There's a website about it. They don't tackle it hard enough. Church marketing sucks. The reason it sucks, we're going to get into, and also what needs to be done about it. Basically, if you want the short answer, what needs to be done about it is exactly what I'm setting out to do for your church. Most church marketing techniques, when you hear that, you think of gimmicks. I got to give something away. I got to buy something. I got to donate something. I got to do something to try to attract people, compel people even to come and be a part of our church. And when you think about it on a superficial level, guess what? You're going to get superficial results. So I'm going to share with you what's wrong with church marketing, because I think we all know something's wrong. We don't exactly know how to describe it. And when you can describe it, you're going to be able to see it from afar and realize this is not worth my time, attention, and stewardship or investment, It would be a bad steward to invest in this opportunity. And instead, what church marketing should be. What is the pastor's role? What is the church's role? What is an agency like mine's role is? Because until you firmly grasp what it should be, there's going to be a lot of silver bullets, magic cures, special, 30 days to whatever. And you've got to avoid those like the plague, because what they're doing is they're just trying to monetize your church. And there are some great software companies out there that do have a vision and mission to reach more people in the right way for your church. But about for every one of those, there's 10 other ones that are just trying to make a buck. And I'm honestly tired of that. And that's why my agency, we didn't set out to do a software. We don't sell software. We don't do subscription plans or anything like that. We were really here to give you your time back. But enough about me. Let's talk about you. You know, church marketing can be gimmicky. It can be deceptive, but it shouldn't be. It's kind of like the sales process. A lot of pastors I talk to that have a sales background understand that when you're selling someone, you're really just answering their questions and explaining why your product would be the best fit. And the best salesmen are the ones that say, you know what, this isn't the best fit. Okay. I don't care how much you want that Lambo. If you walk into a dealership with a pastor's salary, they're going to look at you and say, this ain't going to work. And I don't want to sell Lambos to pastors who can't afford it. I don't even want to sell a college education to kids who cannot afford it, okay? I want to put as much of your church out in the community, not to just draw everyone in, but to better communicate who you are, why you exist, and what they should do if your church is the best fit for them. Okay? Because I believe everyone in your community should know about your church. Even the vegetarians know the best the best steakhouse in towns. Man, let me try that again. Even vegetarians know the best steakhouse in town. They may not want to go there. They may go there only on social occasions, and they know what they can order. That is not their go-to place. And when someone says, hey, what's the best steakhouse in town? If they're not the vegan or whoever that says, hey, you're the devil, they might say, oh, in Houston, it's Taste of Texas, right? And they're not a large chain. They don't have multiple campuses. They don't have multiple places and entry points or whatever. It is one small steakhouse, and it's not too small anymore, but it is one steakhouse in Houston, and it is the place to go if you want the best steak. Even vegetarians know the best steakhouse in Houston. And just like that, people should know your church. even if they are repelled by your church. I don't want anything to do with that. All Christians are evil. They love slavery. They love talking down to people. They don't respect women. but I know that church. That church, there's something different about that church. That's what I want people in your community to know about you and how to think about your church. Everyone in the community, I say this all the time, everyone in your community knows where Walmart is, when it's open, and what to expect when they go there. I try to avoid Walmart like the plague. Houston does not have good Walmarts where I'm at, okay? But I know if I need kids' medicine at 11 p.m. at night, I'm going to Walmart, right? No one else is open, and I know what to expect when I get there. Okay. There are other people that love Walmart. There's nothing against them. But just like everyone knows where it is, when it's open, and what to expect when they go to Walmart, everyone should know where your church is, when you're open, what to expect when they take next steps, take actions to go with you. I know what's going to happen when I go to the Walmart website. I know what's going to happen when I go to Walmart itself. I know what's going to happen when I drive past Walmart. And especially at different times of the day, I know what to expect. And so here's what church marketing is in a nutshell. It's communicating who your church is, why you exist, and what people can expect when they connect with you, when they engage with you. I think so often church marketing takes a blanket approach and says, hey, every church wants to grow. Every church wants more people. Every church does X, Y, Z. Therefore, our marketing platform or our marketing strategy is every church needs to do this. They don't take into account your history. They don't take into account your culture. They don't even take into account your location. We understand that everyone is different in different locations. A New Yorker is vastly different than a Texan. A Floridian is vastly different than a Washingtonian. What do you call people from Washington? Let me know in the comments. So what makes your church unique is what develops your church marketing plan. If your church marketing does not address who you are and what makes you unique and your unique culture and messaging and why you exist and not just as a part of another organization, then yeah, it's going to be gimmicky. If your church marketing does not address what to expect when they engage with your church, what to truly and authentically expect, then yes, it's going to come across deceptive. And if your church marketing plan or strategy or whatever you want to call it only addresses shallow needs, then yeah, you're only going to have shallow results. I have conversations with pastors every week. And they say, we tried this before and we got generic results. Well, because you had a generic plan. I looked at your Facebook ad. It says, hey, looking for a church, come find us. It doesn't say why you exist. It doesn't say what to expect. I expect you to be just like every other church, which is why you get 200 visitors a year and you only 2 stay. What I would rather see is you get 20 visitors a year and 18 stay, 20 stay. And then those 20 know exactly what to expect. You had a smaller target, but you had better growth. And again, growth is not the end all be all. It's just the first step. I think a lot of marketing strategies approach churches that way. All we're going to do is get them in the door, and then you take it over from there. I specifically will not work with someone if they don't have a discipleship path or an assimilation process or an onboarding program, whatever you want to call it. Different churches call it different things. Ideally, it's a discipleship path. But it's a way to get people connected because you need to advertise that. You need to let people know. If your church does not have a discipleship path that you can communicate, that's deceptive. Everyone should know when I go to this church, I'm going to be greeted. I'm going to see a service. I'm going to be asked to join a group. I'm going to be asked to join a welcome program or discovery program or whatever the new members orientation is. I'm going to be asked to serve, and then I'm going to be asked to go make disciples with others. If you cannot advertise that, yes, it is deceptive. So why hasn't church marketing worked for your church? First of all, it's not your fault because you are uniquely equipped to uniquely serve a unique group of people. Most church marketing software plans and platforms do not address that. They are one size fits all, cookie cutter, you even hear. Because they say what worked for one church worked for another church. That may be true for like super high level, like, oh, you just need to invite more people to church and more people will come. But when it comes down to the tactics and even some of the strategy, you have to have a unique approach. What works for a church in Texas is not going to work for a church in New York. And the same thing, what works for a church in New York is not going to work for churches in Texas. So you need to understand your calling and your authenticity. Otherwise, your church marketing is going to be like Christian radio. And I mean no offense to Christian radio, K-Love, KSBJ, or whatever K you listen to. But those are very shallow, introductory, Christian, theological, sometimes what do I call it? I guess untheologically sound songs they play because they have to reach a wide audience. I don't want your church to reach a wide audience. I want your church to reach and speak into the people that God has specifically called for you to equip, serve, and send out. And that's where a lot of church marketing strategies fall short, is they cast a wide net and present you as a generic church to try to get a generic response. So church marketing hasn't worked for you because it hasn't aligned with who you are. If you are not a generic church, then you don't need a generic approach to make more people aware of your church. You need a highly targeted, highly focused, this is who we are, this is why we exist, and this is what to expect. And it's not, hey, expect great things are coming, expect to meet God. That doesn't always happen on Sunday. So what can you expect? For some churches, it's not even expect community. Community is different to every single person. What can I truly expect? There's a church in Arizona that I love. It's a church for the introverted. No church marketing is going to work for them because all church marketing is for the extroverted. Church used to be an extrovert's game. And yet we keep breeding more introverted people. So yeah, that marketing approach of come be part of the family. I hate family gatherings. Don't ask me to go to your family gatherings, dude. No, their church marketing is, hey, God's called you to something more. No other churches is meeting your needs. Come. We won't shake your hand. We won't talk to you. Just come and meet God here on Sunday. They're blowing up. And that is not the end all be all communication, because in their investing in the church, they are discipled. It's just in a way that's not super extroverted. Let's go have parties and gatherings and potlucks. It's no, let's go play some board games. And through that, use that as an avenue to build relationships and then talk about Jesus and disciple, right? You need something that's more unique for yourself. So what should church marketing be? That's like saying, what should my sermon be, right? As a pastor, you write sermons that speak and equip your people to do the work of the ministry, to carry out your church body's mission. You create unique worship sets that support the sermon, or create an environment in which people can focus their minds and hearts on God to receive the message that you have given them. You have unique sermons, you have unique worship sets, you have unique teachers. Why are you using a generic marketing approach? Your church marketing should be as unique as your sermons. Should be as unique as your worship sets. Should be as unique as your people. There are church marketing things that I have seen that are just like, this is not your church, bro. This is not your church at all. It sounds like my grandma's church, and yet you want to reach more young couples or bikers. They're not going to this church. They don't want to join you. They want to kick back, meet others like us, and figure out what life is about, right? And yeah, that does sound a little bit like a club until you start figuring out what life is about, and it's about a higher calling. It's about a higher purpose. It's about a higher creator being that came to this earth and died for you. Right? So what should church marketing be? Well, it should be you. Okay. Church marketing, my definition is, again, communicating who you are, why you exist, and what people can expect once they connect with you. Okay. So let's break that down. Who are you? We are First Baptist, or let's just say Bill and Ted's Excellent Church. We are Bill and Ted's Excellent Church. Okay. Why do you exist? We're here because no other church loves people who love movies. I'm just totally spitballing here. The nerd culture, the people that are outcast, the people that have been burned by church, whatever that might be. We're here because there isn't a great church for families. We're here because there isn't a great church for boomers. That's not right. And what can you expect? Well, if you're a boomer church, when you come here, we're going to have wheelchair accessible entryways, seating. We're going to have fresh coffee and good conversations. Right? That is just the tipping point. And then we can go even further inside. Okay. So what should your marketing be? It should just tell exactly who you are and what to expect when they engage with you. And that's where a lot of church marketing says, hey, just put up pictures of your people. I don't have pictures of my people. Okay. Well, get some. They don't have to be perfect. I don't want perfect pictures. And then what happens as a result of connecting with you? What can they expect to happen? Stories of change. Hey, you're going to finally figure out why you were created. You're going to finally figure out your purpose in life. You're going to receive deliverance from the pain and suffering that you've been living through. You're going to figure out how to live better, how to love better, how to serve better, how to give better. What you experience is going to overflow. You're not even going to want to keep it to yourself. How much do we love telling friends and family about something that, dude, I'll tell you this right now. I saw a TikTok video about how to get a Starbucks drink for half price by just ordering it differently. Did that. It tasted exactly the same. And I was like, bro, I got to tell everyone about this. Stop spending $6 on a coffee. You can get it for $2.50. Right? I love telling people that. Why? Because I'm helping them. And so maybe your church message to me, when you find your purpose, when you find true peace and joy, when you find shalom here at our church, you are going to love it so much you can't help but tell others about it. How much do we love telling others about what we discover? Your church marketing should be you. It's not, let's take what we did from someone else. Let's take a template and just add our name in there. No, it's you. It's figuring out your unique message. But it's not just communicating it out to your community. In fact, what the church marketing should be is it should be flipped. I'm going to take a drink here for a second. It should be flipped, meaning church marketing should not be community first. It should actually start with you, pastor. I talk to too many pastors who are not comfortable with church marketing or what they've tried in the past because it isn't what they would have said about the church themselves. That's a problem. So first of all, church marketing should be for you, pastor. It should help you clarify how to communicate who you are. How many times has your spouse in the past or even recently said, hey, why do you love me? Why do you think I'm pretty? Why do you think I'm handsome? And you're just like, well, I love you because your integrity and you're beautiful and you got a beautiful face. And they're like, you're just stumbling over it. Whereas, how would you like to just have an Insta right like that? I love you because you take care of me and the children. You're always there for me, which makes me live out my purpose better. And you're such a great role model for our kids. There's no one else I'd rather have be my children's mother than you. Right? Again, just made that up on the top of my head. I would love to rehearse that better. How many pastors would love to just say, oh, well, we're just another church. How many pastors would like to have something else to say than, oh, we're just another church. We meet at 11. We're a little bit more casual. Come as you are. Right? That's so generic. I've been to that church. You've never been to my church. Oh, yes, I have. With that message, I have. Versus, hey, tell me about your church. Hey, look, we understand there's a lot of garbage out there, and there's a lot of churches that aren't really church. They're just clubs. Our church is actually a place where you can safely work out your faith and ask the hard questions. In fact, I encourage you on your first Sunday, ask me the hardest question you've ever thought about God. We'll answer it. And then when you do that, you'll start to figure out what life is about and what faith really means. And you can actually experience true joy and peace because you won't have these internal conflicts and questions that are just constantly unanswered and shallow answers being thrown at you by shallow churches. At our church, you're going to have a deeper experience like you've never experienced before. And in fact, let me tell you about Betty, who came to our church last year and asked me the craziest question you've ever heard. Right? That's a hook. And that's not like a marketing gimmick. Oh, we have the best kids ministry. We have the biggest slide in the city. We have the biggest screen in the city. We have the billboard on 45. No, it's our church understands your pains, and we're gonna point you to the answer. We aren't the answer. We're gonna point you to the answer. It needs to be something. Church marketing, your message, your what you're doing, pastor, needs to fire you up. You don't get fired up because your church meets at 11. You don't get fired up because people can come as they are. What fires you up, pastor? That is the start of your church marketing message. And then not only that, your church marketing message, second, it needs to be for you first, right? Every morning I wake up and I think to myself, I want to see in my lifetime 1 million churches become the cornerstone of their communities. I want to see 1 million churches on this planet. I don't know how many there are. I know there's like 340,000 in America. I don't know what that looks like. Every church might just be 10 people. That'd be awesome, in my opinion. But hey, whatever. What would that look like? And then what do I need to do to make that happen? Because I know, at least with the clients that I work with, once we hit the 100, 200, 300 threshold, they're not just growing into a mega church. They're splitting off into another church. I've helped one church become 2, become 4, etc. So again, it needs to be something that fires you up. When you wake up and you see your church marketing, it should be like, yes, that's us. Let's go. And if it doesn't do that, you're wasting your money. Number 2 is subpoint B, whatever you want to call it. Who is your marketing for? It's for your staff and leadership. Because just like the marketing should fire you up, it should also fire up and be the banner that your staff and leadership rally around. I'm not here to run sound because I'm good at sound. I'm here because there is someone walking in this door who doesn't understand why they were created and they need to figure it out. And I'm going to play some nice music as they come in to relax them and give them a nice relaxed environment where they can kind of relax and then receive the word of God. And then I'm going to bring it down afterwards. So there's still some background noise. So there's no anxiety there. So they can still talk and be relational without being awkward. So I'm not running sound because I'm good at flipping switches. I'm running sound because I want to create an environment. I'm not teaching class because I'm good with kids. I'm teaching class because God created this person and Jesus loves this person. And though they're 4 years old, they're still sinners. They are sinful by nature. And what they're teaching in big church is great. It's not accessible for them. So what I want to do is break down that message of Jesus's love and not just be good with kids or good with crafts and give them snacks. I want them to see the love of Jesus just like their parents might see, or worse, which I know is not ideal. Their parents aren't teaching them this stuff. But we have a message that their kid needs to know. And maybe it will bleed into their parents, right? It's part of my discipleship. That rallies around your church staff. And if your church marketing message is, hey, we have the best kids program, we have the biggest slide, we have the funnest programs, we watch VeggieTales every Sunday. That used to be my favorite Sunday. Then what excitement is there? There's no excitement there. So, the church marketing should be a message that gets you excited. It should also light a fire under your staff and leadership. And it should be something that they can communicate. Okay. If you have this long drawn out mission statement, it's great for your staff and leadership on an internal back end way. You don't promote your mission statement out to the community. Your mission statement is something internal. And then number subpoint C, whatever we're on, who is the church marketing for? It's for you, it's for your staff, and it's for your congregation. If you have a lukewarm church marketing message, it's going to be harder for your congregation to go out and be representative of your church. Because if you have a church marketing message that says, hey, we're a great church and we want you to plan a visit, and I'm a church member, I'm like, hey, love to have you visit. So what? I want to add some other words in there. So what? But instead it's, hey, I go to this church and it's the only church in town that lets you ask those really hard questions. Not only that, pastor invites it. In fact, after service, you can go and ask him questions because he understands. Until you get answers to your questions, you're just going to be in internal turmoil. And in fact, he sat down and talked with me. He didn't talk at me. He didn't talk to me. He talked with me. And then other people started talking with me. And I realized I don't have to pretend to be something I'm not. It's okay to have questions. It's okay to have doubts. It's a pretty cool church. And hey, let's do this. Why don't we meet at, and then whatever the next step is, right? That's something I can get around as a church member. Not, hey, can you come to church? We meet at 11 so you can sleep in a little bit. What a boring snooze fest of a message. If your church gathers at 11 o'clock, I think that's great. Okay. I personally, with 2 kids now, I love it. All right. But if that's your sales pitch, that's like saying, hey, buy a Ford car. It comes with 4 tires. Bro, no. Okay. Your church messaging is also for your congregation, so they understand and are constantly reminded why they chose your church, why they are called to your church, and why they are still connected to your church. How many people come and join your church, pastor, and say, I love church and I joined this church. Now let's start making it like my church. No, that's not how this works. Then you go out. So first the church marketing is for you, pastor. Then it's for your staff and leadership. Then it's for your congregation. Then it's for your community. Because the last thing I want you to do is for your community to hear message A, and then they come in and your congregation still thinks you're at church B. It needs to come from the inside out, which is why our foundations are focused on your church, not the community. We start with your church. We start with your message, your leadership, your congregation. And then we bleed it out into the community, because then your community hears this and your church people back it up. And I don't like hearing stories of people that are like, hey, I heard this church has a pretty cool kids program, and the congregant is like, yeah, it's all right. Nursery stinks kind of, but I mean, Mrs. Dolly's pretty nice. True story. The church marketing, you need to flip it. It's not just for the community anymore. It's for you. It's for your leadership. It's for your congregation. It's for your community. What should it look like, right? We know why it doesn't work. We know what it should be, and we know who it's for. But what should it look like? What's the how? And that's the thing that makes it really hard for me trying to get this podcast out there and trying to get you some quick wins, which I understand. Like sometimes you just want to lose 5 pounds before a wedding. I get it. But church marketing really is a long-term solution. If it's not, that's what makes it feel gimmicky. Hey, you're just getting 300 people on Easter Sunday, and the next Sunday you're right back to 100. I don't want that. So what should it look like? Well, let me just break it down. First of all, again, we talked about this. It should be unique. It should be centered around your church and who your church is. It should be a reflection, not a different picture. Okay? You don't go and check your hair in front of the family portrait. You go to a mirror. And it should be on mission. A church marketing message or a church marketing plan should align with the mission. And not only that, pastor, just an aside, everything you should do should align with your mission. If you are a church to just go and make disciples, you make disciples, that should bleed into all of your events, all of your ministries, your building. If you're a church that raises people up to send them out, you don't need a big building because you're not going to keep that many people. You're going to get them, equip them, and send them out. And the same thing with your marketing message, right? You should be equipping people. Discipleship should be a part of your website. Discipleship should be a part of your Facebook, your social media, your advertising even. It should be on mission. And then it should be clear, okay? A lot of churches will say, hey, who are we? Well, we're a God-fearing, God-loving, city-loving people. What does that mean? Right? I need to know not who you are, but who you are for me. That's what clarity is. There is a way to ethically and theologically present your church in a way that serves others without being gimmicky, okay? If you were to say, I'm just, again, spitballing here. I do this way too much. I should probably write this down before the show. If you say, hey, we're a church that loves all people, it's very generic. We're a church that recognizes that the rest of the world has left you behind, and they have no intention of even connecting with you. You've been outcasted, thrown aside, and spit on because you're just different. Despite all that, we still care about you. We still want to get to know you. And if you don't believe me, test us out. How much more impactful is that than we love all people? Come on. It should be clear. And sometimes clear doesn't mean shorter. Clear means more focused. Right? And how much often you cook dinner and your spouse is like, hey, thanks for dinner. Versus, hey, thanks for dinner. That was really good. I love what you did with this. Or, hey, I love that we actually ate on real plates this time. Whatever it is, right? Clarity doesn't just mean shorter. It means more focused, more clear. And then it needs to be authentic. Stop putting on airs. Stop holding court online. It's even when it comes to the live stream, right? Churches are like, what do I need to live stream? Bro, you just need the phone. I know several people that make millions of dollars every year with just a phone, just by doing this. We hate it. There's the way things should be. There's the way things are. We have to live in the way things are. It's not good. It's not bad. It's what it is. I'm just going to put that on my wall. It's not good. It's not bad. It's what it is. Okay? If you are communicating who you are and being authentic, telling these real stories about how your church is changing lives, how God is changing lives through your church, I don't think there's anything wrong with church marketing or church growth, as long as, it's focused on your mission. And those shallow churches have a mission. They're not really living it out. So again, it's hard to say what it should look like. Now, we have the processes and systems that we go through. What does it look like? First of all, it's having a clear message. It's knowing who you are, what you do, and what happens as a result when I connect with you. Right? And not only who you are, but who you are to me. Right? There's a lot of places I know who they are. Again, that vegetarian steakhouse analogy. It's who you are to me. Right? Then number 2, you've got to have correct visual representation of who you are. There should be like an instantaneous, I get it. Right? You see that black and white commercial with the athletes that are sweating neon green, that's Gatorade. Didn't even have to say that's Gatorade. You guys knew who I was talking about. And then you got to get your house in order. Now we are an online marketing company, so we get the online house in order. But once you know your message and your branding, then you know kind of how to get your church house in order, but also your online house. Because when people don't know you, they're going to ask someone else. And if they don't know you, they're going to go to Google for whatever ministry, solution, support, services you provide. So you need to have right representation there. And it needs to be unique, on mission, clear, and authentic. And then we go out and we just put that in front of more people. Not because we want all those people to come and be a part of you, but because they're within all those people, within the 20,000 people we put you in front of, 20 to 200 of them are going to be the ones that your church is equipped to serve. So we're not casting a wide net to pull in all these little fish that we're not going to eat. We're casting a wide net to make sure that we knock down all obstacles, blockades, all stumbling blocks, all roadblocks, to say, hey, you right there. This is where your answers are. This is where your purpose is. This is where your hope is, your healing. This is where your people are. This is where your God is. Because there are other organizations that are wolves in sheep's clothing that are blanketing these people. There is someone that God is calling, and your church is, I'm going to call him Josh. Your church is best equipped to speak to Josh, to disciple Josh, to send him out, to equip him. Not just to evangelize and convert him, but to equip him and help him become a disciple maker. But if you're just going to sit here and not have a marketing message and just say, we're going to pray for Josh. We're going to pray Josh hears about us somehow. I don't know how, if we're not doing anything. Maybe he drives by us. I don't know. Well, guess what? While we're sitting here on our boat about to go over the waterfall, other organizations that are theology that don't have anything more than that aren't any more of a church than they have church in the name are throwing lifelines to Josh. They're throwing life vests at him. They're throwing ropes at him. They're coming in on a helicopter with a rope ladder to get him out of that sinking ship or to get him out of that canoe that's about to go over the waterfall. And we're just standing here saying, oh, well, I hope he gets out and swims to us. We have a duty as a church to make disciples, to worship Christ, to evangelize, to disciple. Right? The church is not the end all be all. The church is just a gathering place. There's nothing special about it, right? So we have a duty to go out and try to make sure that we bathe our community in the church name, not as a charity, because we want people to know we have the best school supply, August back to school ministry, or the best Christmas shoebox collection or whatever. With that, we are here. If you have questions that you haven't gotten answers, if you are hurting because the man is keeping you down, if you want to see your friends and family saved, but you don't know how to be the disciple maker yourself, if you feel like the world has left you behind, we haven't. What is that marketing message for your church? That is what your marketing should look like. And then everything else you do bleeds out from that message. That is what it should look like. Unique, on mission, clear, and authentic. The last thing is why. I kind of already explained that, right? It makes it easy. It makes it easier or less difficult. Because instead of hearing about you and saying, oh, I've been to church, been there, done that. Obviously not. Because your church was planted instead of joining another church. So there is something different. They don't get it. Or worse, especially in today's day and age, oh, another church doing this? Obviously, the pastor just wants to get paid. Obviously, the pastor is just some crazy nutso that thinks I shouldn't have a beard, or I should have a beard, or that I should not wear pants, or whatever. They are judging you based on what they've seen from other churches and other pastors. And social media does not do a service. And dare I say, a lot of other Christians do a disservice to churches by sharing all the problems and not the changing stories of God as a result of church. Man, that grinds my gears. So we have to do work against that. And unfortunately, we have to not only match the noise, we need to be louder than it. So forget everything you know about church marketing and start looking at who you are. Okay? Look at, like, Pastor, what fires you up about your church? Hey, there's the start to your church marketing message. How do I communicate that passion, that purpose to others? What do I want them to do? What should they expect when they do that? What happens as a result? If they are completely bought in and changed, what happens as a result? There's your marketing message. It's not another church invite. It shouldn't be. It should not. I'm getting very tired of planning a visit, y'all. I'm not going to rant about that. I ranted about that last week. Go watch the show. And then what should it look like? It needs to be unique. It needs to be on mission. It needs to be clear and authentic. Why? Because there are wolves in sheep clothing that are being louder and distractful. And God can do an amazing work through your church in Josh's life if you would just make it known that you exist to Josh. And sometimes to make it known to Josh, you also have to make it known to a bunch of people just so Josh hears about it enough times to say, you know what? I'm finally going to listen to God and do this. Forget everything of what you've done. Start with who you are. And then once you have that, we can develop the roadmap, right? Go to navachurchmarketing.com/checklist. You can kind of get a checklist on how well you're making people known about exactly who you are. You can even get a consult with us. We'll sit down. It's about a 3-hour process. We do it in chunks, don't worry. And we walk through what you're doing, what's working, what's not working, what possibilities are there, what opportunities are there. And then when this is not a sales pitch, we do not sell you at all in these first 3 calls. If and only if you say this makes sense, what would it take for you to do it for us? Only then do we go through the sales process. Why? Because church marketing sucks. I'm tired of these so-called strategy calls that are just sales pitches. Tired of it. I can spot them from a mile away. Pastors can't. It's tough. I got a call from one of my clients yesterday. He's a newer client. We're only about halfway through our process of revitalizing his marketing. He told me, he's like, I almost feel overwhelmed, but mostly I'm amazed. Which, first of all, mindset. Love to have that mindset. I'm not overwhelmed. I'm amazed at what's happening. He said every week we're getting 10 to 20 new parishioners, which I think means like guests. And people are coming in for deliverance. They're a very deliverance-focused church. People come just for the altar call. I think that's awesome. Right? How would you like it if people just came to your church for your altar call or just came for your message, right? Because people understand this is a place to go if you're hurting or healing. This is not a place to go because everything's all right and you have so much to give and you're going to put more in the offering plate. This is a church for the broken down, beat down, left behind. Man is on your throat, but God isn't. I love that. And people are finding out about the church, connecting with the church, watching older messages, coming into service. And for every 10 people that are engaging, there's about another 500 that are just seeing it. And that's the unfortunate truth of it, right? People say, well, it shouldn't be about reaching the masses. It should be about discipleship. It's not either or. It's both and. How much easier would it be to say, hey, can I tell you about Jesus? And instead of, oh, I've heard about Jesus and now he hates black people. Or I've heard about Jesus and now he hates homosexuals. Or I can't do Jesus because I'm an alcoholic. Whatever excuse it is. What if they said, oh, yeah, I've heard about this. I thought it used to be this. But then I started seeing this other church. Oh, you know what? That's my church. Okay, I'll give you a shot. What about Jesus should I know? It's both and. The discipleship supports the marketing, but the marketing also can support, when done right, will support the discipleship. I don't want to use psychology to manipulate people and be gimmicky and deceptive. I want to use psychology because God created us in a certain way. And we know that when we do X and Y, Z will come. Or at least Z has a better chance to happen. So we're taking advantage. We clarified his message. We didn't change his branding, but we just made it better looking online. It was very old school, but we made it work online. We updated his website. We got him an app because he's a little bit more decentralized than most churches. And people are seeing this church, hearing about it, finding him. Not just through churches to visit, but, healing support ministries, free clinics. It's amazing. And I'm not here to pimp out my clients. So one of the hard things about me is I'm very overprotective of my clients. And so I don't do a lot of case studies. I don't do a lot of interviews and testimonials because I'm not here to pimp out my clients. I'm not here to say, look how great I am. I'm here to serve them. And I don't want a bunch of strangers on the internet calling them to vet me, right? If you don't trust me after 3 free calls, then you're not my client, and I'm not your agency. But he is amazing, and we're not done, and we're not even done. We're barely halfway through his plan. So yeah, if you want something like that, navachurchmarketing.com/checklist will get you started. Marketing sucks because of what it was. I think a lot of churches suck. Sorry, they're not real. They're charities with Jesus's name. They're dens of vipers. That doesn't negate all churches. Just because you preach a bad sermon, I'm not saying recently, like even when you were first getting your feet wet, pastor, doesn't mean you stop all preaching. It means you have to address, why am I preaching? What do I want people to expect? And what do I want them to do when I'm done preaching? Same thing with marketing. Thank you for watching. This is the Best Known Church Show. Hey, we believe in having outrageous visions. We believe in taking unreasonable action, and we believe in relentless execution. If you believe that and you think that you need someone like that to help you, we can do the work of a whole marketing team for less than the price of hiring one full-time person. So give us a call, 832-861-7654. If you want to talk about that, text us, email us. All the information will be down below or after in this outro. Thank you so much for watching. Share this podcast. Give it a like and subscribe. That's the way we say goodbye now. God bless you all, and I will see you next week.
That's going to do it for today's episode of the Best Known Church Show with Justin Nava. Be sure to subscribe to stay updated on the latest news, strategies, and resources that you need to reach 10x more people and become the best known in your community. To send us a message or leave a voicemail for Justin to be played on a future show, visit thebestknownchurchshow.com. And if you'd like to work with us so you can focus on your ministry, give us a call at 832-861-7654. Until next time, stay outrageous, unreasonable, and relentless.